So in today's video, we're going to start out super simple. We're going to make a small fire using some cedar bark or some juniper bark, depending on what you like to call it, which is honestly all around me, all these juniper trees. So I'll show you how to get the bark off the tree in a good way, how to get the best bark that's actually going to light on fire, and then how to start that with a traditional flint and steel. So stay tuned. Alright, so where we're going to want to go to find some of the cedar bark is not down here in the ravine where I am right now. There are a bunch of cedar trees here, but the bark is pretty wet. Even on the inner part of the bark, it's pretty wet, and so it's going to be really hard to start a fire. So in a situation like this, if you're not injured, if you can, get up to the top of a hill or something like that to where the sun's shining on the trees, you're going to be able to start a fire a lot better with the bark that comes from up there. Alrighty, so going straight up the hill. Luckily it's not too bad. There's the sun. We got some trees up here that I want to look at, see what kind of bark we can scare off of them. Alright, so here we are. This tree right here looks pretty old. Looks like half of it's alive and half of it's kind of dead. But what is really cool about it is down near the base, I'm not sure if you can see real well here. Here we go. Down near the base, there's this bark just hanging off. And the sun's kind of catching it, so it's away from the tree. It's away from all the moisture. And it's all dried up. So we're gonna grab some of that, and then I'll show you how to make a bird's nest out of it so that we can light it on fire. All right, really it doesn't take much. You know, this size is sufficient for starting a pretty good fire. It all just depends on if you're good at fire prep or not. But I'll show you how to make some flames out of this, and then maybe in the future I'll make another video about fire prep and how we're gonna start fires that'll last long and that won't be too smoky. All right, so we're back down here in the ravine. I like it down here because there's a little rock that I can sit on that is not full of snow, so that's why we're back. But here we have our cedar bark nest, kind of. So I'm just kind of shaking up the fibers a little bit, getting it all nice and fine, because you know, if you've got like only big sticks kind of like this, the spark's not going to catch. So you want the fibers all freed up, you want them thin, and yeah. Then what you're going to want to do is with your thumbs and your fingers, whatever, poke kind of a little bit of a hole in the middle here. Can you see that? And that's where we're going to put the charred cloth once it's lit. Cool? Or you could put a coal in there, you know, whatever else. If you're using a ferrocerium rod, you can just strike it straight into this thing and it'll light on fire. But for presentation's sake, we're just going to use a traditional flint and steel today. Okay, so what I've got here is a little piece of flint or chert. I picked this up in the Owyhee Mountains a couple of years ago, and this is the steel part. This is given to me by a friend in Oregon, and well, basically what we're going to do is we're going to just, I mean, you guys have probably seen this before if you know anything about bushcraft, but to strike, it's like this. I think the camera's getting the sparks in there. So what we're going to want to do, I've got this tin of charred cloth in here, and you know, that could be another video that I make in the future, how to make and use charred cloth. But this is what it looks like. It's pretty thin. Probably I'll make some thicker charred cloth now that I've got a little bit more time, but for today we'll just use the thin charred cloth. So what we're going to want to do is put the charred cloth right on top of the piece of flint in a way that when we hit it with the steel, it's going to catch on fire, but it's not going to destroy it. So we want it right there on the edge, but not hanging over or anything like that. The sparks will catch it. So let's see. Okay, so it's going right there. You're going to want to take this off of the rock and put it in the middle right here. Cool. And we're going to want to blow on it. You know what, guys? That was kind of a bust. It looks like this stuff is still a little bit wet. So I'm going to crinkle it up again. Sometimes you can't get it to start on the first time, you know, and that's just fine. It's rarely a speed competition. Just got to be able to get it started. So if this happens, don't give up. Like, I've been starting flint and steel fires for a long time, and still it happens to me. So I'm gonna take out another piece of charred cloth, maybe two, so the coal lasts a little bit longer. And we're just gonna do the process over again. Cool. So here we are. Another piece. First try. Very nice. Alright, so it's on fire. It's still a little bit wet, so we're going to have to maybe blow on it a little bit more to keep it going. But position the flame so that it heats up and dries out the rest of the stuff. You know, and then if you have some dry tinder, or you know what I mean, some dry sticks or whatever, you can stick that on top. It's smoking a lot, but you know, it's still pretty hot if you keep blowing on it. There you go. All right, so that's how it's done, guys. And you know, this is a good way to start a fire because it's a source of flame that lasts a pretty long time, especially with cedar bark. You can get this stuff going, and probably the flames on here will last as long as you need to be able to get a good fire started. So if it goes out like it is or like it is right here, as long as it's still got those little embers going. Oh gosh, it burned me. But you get the point. You can still light it up. So yeah. Thanks for watching the video, guys. It was fun to make. Fun to be back making videos again. Stay tuned for more on this channel. I'm going to be out in the mountains, you know, once or twice a week. Probably try to film a video once a week or so. But yeah, if you got any suggestions for videos, things you want to see done, things you want demonstrated, questions you have, leave them in the comments and I'll be sure to get to them, okay? Well, thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.